Hey guys, it is still December 4th, 2017. This is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine. Um, and I wanted to, just like I went through a bunch of electronic weapons projects by military intelligence and governmental agencies through the decade in the United States, I wanted to also now uh, go through um, go through kind of what preceded gang stalking. I think there's a lot in the United States. Maybe there's some more on this website about other things in other countries, but definitely just kind of go through Dr. Eric Carlstrom's website on things that where gang stalking was practiced and formed and where it came from. Um, it's kind of weird for me right now. I'm getting a lot of directed energy weapons experimentation and torture on my body. And through the years, when I knew that I was being externally attacked and things started to get really weird with the gang stalking and patrolling and things like that, it was about 7 or 8 years ago. And through the years, the gang stalking has been extreme to where I'd see, a cop patrolling me around every corner, a city police or sheriff's department or EMS workers, fire department, one light cars, people around where I live coming in and out at the same time. Right now, I guess in my targeting, I'm not so much experiencing so much vehicular harassment. Not a lot of authority figures. I may see a cop every once in a while go T-bone to me at a light or something like that. Um, and I'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to go through gang stalking. But right now my gang stalking isn't that heated. I've had some flyovers and things like that, but it seems to be intensely focused on the directed energy weapon systems tortures, the remote neural manipulation, and I'm not sure if that's just because it's been so many years, they've gone through so many first responders, and the first responders start to question. I'm not sure if it's because I put myself, out on YouTube and on the conference calls, and maybe these people who were not were not aware that they were involved in experimentation and murder and harassing people that was happening to. They may have, seen my YouTube videos or seen me out front, and maybe some authorities had decided to kind of back off of me. I'm not sure why. I still get it at certain levels, more at certain times than others. But I guess my intense concern is about the torture and experimentation. However, the gang stalking is very unconstitutional and creepy and destroys lives too because, you're always being watched and followed. And, especially for women living alone, that can be very scary and dangerous. And also men. Um, I'm not sure why I prefaced it with my gang stalking isn't horrifying right now. It does still go on, but I'll talk about that later. I want to go through some quotes before I go through the information on the precedents of gang stalking and programs that preceded it to form what we experience as actual gang stalking by DHS fusion centers and InfraGard and other agencies. So I'm going to go through this quote real quick. It's not just the FBI that is spying now. It's the Department of Homeland Security. It's the Department of Defense. It's state and local law enforcement agencies that are involved in these activities. A huge part of the problem is that these activities are taking place in secret, so it's hard to know how these are impacting any particular group or individual. That's by Mike German, ex-FBI counterintelligence agent, from his book, FBI is Secretly Targeting, Surveilling, and Gang Stalking Innocent Americans Using Fraudulent Anti-Terrorism as Pretext. YouTube interviews and transcriptions. Then I want to read this other very, very important quote by none other than Karen Stewart, an ex-NSA whistleblower and a targeted individual who is doing so much activism and so many things for the targeted individual community. The NSA is now using the same type of spy technology and spy protocol on Americans that they were only supposed to use on foreigners overseas. They are not getting caught, so they are doing it anyway. I happen to know that the FBI pretty much does whatever the NSA tells them to do, so there is no one to hold the NSA accountable. The Homeland Security Network is something of an obscene joke. You are being played for fools. There are thousands upon thousands of people who are on the terrorist watch list who are only there to bloat the list and make you think that you are in danger. And under President George W. Bush, the FBI went to every single state it could and started something with their law enforcement agencies, a vigilante civilian group. They are being played for fools. They are being paid to stalk and harass people they are told are threats or terrorists. And in the vast majority of cases, these people are innocent, randomly chosen people to be thrown on a terrorist watch list. And very often they are whistleblowers or somebody someone powerful has a personal vendetta against. And so InfraGard and these other types of useful idiots are helping to destroy the lives of patriots and some of the nicest people and best people that we have. These paid vigilante militia thugs are violating these other people's rights, the victims' rights. There is no Fourth Amendment. They are being secretly accused of something by the government without any proof, without any witnesses. And then they are having a non-deputized, non-legal, non-law enforcement group of vigilante fascists stalk, harass, and vandalize them. These people get thrown out of their apartments. They lose their jobs. They get blackballed from any kind of job. I spoke to a man who lives on a nature path between a couple of Florida cities. He comes into town to get food stamps, and then he goes back and he camps out there. And when he comes into each little town along the path, police find him and spit on him. This is from Karen Stewart, ex-NSA whistleblower, now a target individual. This seems to be from NSA Gang Stalks Innocent Americans, interview with NSA whistleblower and TI Karen Stewart. So that brings me to what I want to go to. I want to go to electronic weapons section of Dr. Eric Karlstrom's website, down to precursors for gang stalking. So, manual for organized gang stalking operations. FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, NATO stay-behind armies, and ongoing global U.S. military, unconventional, civil military, war, information war operations. And I'm going to go to what he has written about it here. And kind of read up on this. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits and Stay-Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers, from Dr. Ronnie Kilda's Bright Light on Black Shadows. ETK Instruction. I have reproduced Dr. Ronnie Kilda's Chapter 18 here because it is an instruction manual for community gang stalkers. These same techniques and perhaps the same manual were evidently also used in the FBI's COINTELPRO counterintelligence program and Operation Gladio stay-behind operations in Europe between about 1950 and 1990. They also accurately describe the U.S. military intelligence ongoing global gang stalking operations as documented in New World War Revolutionary Methods for Political Control by Mark M. Rich in 2011. All these top-secret operations went on, officially undetected, for decades. Gladio stay-behind functioned secretly and illegally throughout Europe for 4 decades. When it was exposed in 1990 by Italian Prime Minister Andreotti, shortly thereafter the European Parliament made a resolution condemning Gladio, but acknowledged that it may still be operational. Okay. Like American author Gloria Naylor, see her book 1996, and countless others, Dr. Ronnie Kilda was a targeted individual, TI, for decades. She was harassed, defamed, tortured, and eventually, on February 9, 2015, murdered in this program. As neither Dr. Kilda nor her publisher were or are native English speakers, there are minor grammatical errors in the text. To make the text read more smoothly, I occasionally add additional words which I place in parentheses. In her book, Dr. Kilda does not specify where she obtained this instruction manual or who authored it. However, as chief medical officer for Northern Finland, she was an insider who was invited to many open and secret conferences. Her husband was also a political insider. Thus, she was privy to top-secret documents. Doubtless she does not divulge the authors of these documents in order to protect her informants. I note that many phrases and spellings are peculiar to the British form of the English language. This could reflect Dr. Kilda's spelling and usage patterns, or it could reflect the fact that the original document was written by British military intelligence operatives. If so, we may speculate that it was authored by an individual or group associated with the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, which grew out of the Psychological Warfare Division of the British Army at the close of World War I, and has for decades been the world's brainwashing center. Let's go down. Okay, regardless, let's see. I guess I'll just read all of this. This may be an hour one because it's a lot of stuff to read, but I want to read this stuff out just in case somebody doesn't come here and want to read through it. Just get it out there in any way that I can. And I think we all need to be doing this. If you see an article that you really just think brings out a truth about, what's going on with targeted individuals, you should, think about doing a YouTube video about it. Not just reading it, because we need to be promoting these truths. Because the mainstream media is not at the moment doing that. Hopefully they'll be forced to, hopefully this year. Regardless of its exact authorship, this is an extremely important document that should be read and understood by all targets. Clearly, this is a manual for psychological warfare that presents the methods by which an extremely complex military secret service hierarchy surveils, punishes, neutralizes, and ultimately murders its designated targets. There are obvious comparisons to be made with the CIA's Kubark torture manual, which has been employed in Vietnam, Latin America, the Middle East, and indeed in CIA black sites / extraordinary rendition centers throughout the entire world. The Psy-War system described herein bears a remarkable similarity to the operations and procedures of the U.S. military's fourth-generation warfare, civil military operations other than war, unconventional warfare, asymmetrical warfare, psychological warfare, and information warfare operations as detailed in Rich's New World War, Revolutionary Methods for Political Control. Indeed, the systems are identical. The remarkable revelation provided here is that modern organized gang-stalking operations are identical with, or nearly identical with, those used in the FBI's secret COINTELPRO counterintelligence programs of the 1950s through the 1970s, the top-secret Gladio and other stay-behind army operations of Europe between 1950 and 1990, and the destabilization and citizen elimination operations now being carried out in the name of counterterrorism, in quotation marks, by the U.S. military in approximately 140 of the world's 195 nations. See, the world is the battlefield, U.S. SOCOM involved in 134 counterterrorism wars. Counterterrorism in quotation marks. Thus we can properly understand the global organized gang-stalking operations, which I refer to as Gog's New Gestapo, so Dr. Karlstrom refers to it as Gog's New Gestapo, for global organized gang-stalking neuro-warfare groups, electronic slavery, torture, and PSYOP operations, as a major component of the phony global war on terrorism and the full-spectrum dominance strategy of the Anglo-American Israeli Empire. Welcome to the New World Order Antichrist, fascist, communist, totalitarian police state in which the battle space is the entire world and you are the enemy. Further details regarding the advanced technologies now being used in covert global organized stalking electronic harassment operations